The IMF is a quota-based institution. Each member country is assigned a quota based broadly on its relative economic position in the world economy. Quotas constitute the primary source of the IMF's financial base and play several key roles in its relationship with its members. They determine a country's voting power and its maximum financial commitment to the IMF. Quotas are also relevant for access to IMF resources and allocations of special drawing rights, SDRs. Quotas are denominated in SDRs, and their size is determined by the IMF's Board of Governors. When a country joins the IMF, it is assigned an initial quota in the same range as the quotas of existing members of broadly comparable economic size and characteristics. The IMF uses a quota formula to help assess members' relative economic positions. The current quota formula is a weighted average of GDP, openness, economic variability, and international reserves. The total quotas of IMF members amount to about SDR 477 billion. The United States is the largest member with a quota of SDR 83 billion. And Tuvalu is the smallest member with a quota of SDR 2.5 million. A member's quota subscription determines the maximum amount of financial resources it must provide to the IMF. Upon joining the fund, a member must pay its subscription in full. Quota subscriptions are the basic source of financing for the IMF's regular lending. Quotas largely determine a member's voting power in the IMF, and thereby its decision-making and representation on the executive board. A member's total votes are equal to its basic votes plus one additional vote for each SDR 100,000 in quotas. All members are assigned an equal number of basic votes to help strengthen the relative voting power of members with small quotas. The financial assistance a member may obtain from the IMF is also generally based on its quota. For example, under standby arrangements, a member can borrow up to 145% of its quota annually and 435% cumulatively under normal access. These limits may be exceeded in exceptional circumstances. Finally, quotas also determine the share of a member's SDRs in general allocations. The IMF conducts general reviews of quotas at least every 5 years. The main issues addressed in general quota reviews are the size of the overall increase in quotas and the distribution of the increase among the members. General reviews do not always result in quota increases. Quotas can also be adjusted on an ad hoc basis outside of a general review. The most impactful and far-reaching review thus far has been the 14th General Review of Quotas, which was completed by the Board of Governors on December 15, 2010. The 2010 reform package, which became effective on January 26, 2016, delivered the largest quota increase in history and led to a major realignment in quota shares. Quotas were doubled from about SDR 238 billion to about SDR 477 billion. More than 6% of quota shares were shifted to dynamic emerging market and developing countries. As a result, China became the third largest member country in the IMF. 3 other emerging market economies, Brazil, India, and Russia, are now also among the 10 largest members of the IMF. This was all achieved while protecting the quota and voting shares of the poorest member countries. Looking ahead, the IMF's Executive Board has adopted a work program for the next General Review of Quotas, the 15th review. The aim is to conclude the review by the 2019 spring meetings, and no later than the 2019 annual meetings.